Hi, my name is Maceo Lewis, and welcome to my movie review channel on YouTube, ML Movie Reviews. Today, I want to do a spoiler talk about Mickey 17, but before I get into Mickey 17, I want to address something personally that happened not only to me, but my family. And I just want to address it because it does impact my viewing of movies. As you know, or you may not know this, this movie review channel, I want to keep it focused on movies, particularly theatrically released movies. And so I try to tie other things into it, like I just did Oscar predictions and I discussed the results. But again, that's tied to theatrically released movies. So I don't normally get into personal stuff, but this event had an impact on my movie going experience, and I just want to share that and address it before I get into the review. So please bear with me. This is all relevant to movies, and I'm going to get there and explain it to you. So, as some of you know, I found out this week. Today's March 9th. I found out March 5th. That's a Wednesday, 8 p.m. And the reason why I know that time, and I will forever remember it, is because I normally watch a show called Survivor that comes on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And I was getting ready to watch that show. I get a call from my mom. Now I'm thinking when my mom's calling, she's calling to make sure I'm watching the show or that ready to discuss it or to tell me, hey, look, I'm doing something right now. I'm going to sleep. Don't spoil it for me because we always talk about Survivor. But it unfortunately it wasn't that call. The call was to inform me that one of my close cousins, Jamaal Meeks, suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. Now, when I got that news, like, of course, I'm in shock. I'm like, what? Like, because, like, I was just communicating with him on my IG. Like, we follow each other. He likes my IG reviews, the short reviews that I post, movie reactions, out of the theater reactions. And I was liking his stuff. He was getting involved in real estate. So we were just recently doing that, just like within the last week or so. And so I'm like, no, this must be a mistake, or, so I'm in denial. I was in shock. Of course, I was sad. I was numb, depressed. I felt like I was in a deer in headlights, and that this is just a bad dream. It's like one of those dreams where you find out someone's dead, and you wake up the next morning and say, "Oh, okay, this is a bad dream." Or like you're falling down from a bridge, you're driving, and right before you make impact, you wake up. Like I felt it was like one of those type of moments. But I mean, unfortunately, I never woke up. And I'm still dealing with that reality. So I spent the whole night Wednesday, um, March 5th, talking with my mom. And then after I got off the phone with her, I tried to call my cousin, his brother. And I mean, I'm not going to get that, but obviously he's devastated. And then so I went to go talk to my wife, and it was one of those mornings where, like, when I tried to get the words out, I just started breaking down. I couldn't even get the words out. I started, crying. And this is like an eerily similar moment that happened 10 years ago where my Aunt Charlene, who is the mom of Jamal, also passed away. So again, like, it was one of those things where I'm at home. I get a call from my stepdad, say, "Hey, where you at? Are you sitting down? You need to sit down." And so every time I hear that, it's like, "Oh no, what? You know, I'm about to get some bad, terrible news." And so the same thing happened this time. I talked to my cousin's wife, my other cousin's wife, my sister, my dad, and so I'm processing this. I'm trying to figure out what's happening, what happened, and grieving, sharing memories, just talking with family members about what happened and trying to process what's going on. And so I woke up the next morning and I decided it's a work day, and I was always supposed to go to work, and I decided to go to work. Um, Partly because I need to work, but also because to take my mind off what was happening. And for the most part, I was doing okay, but there were times where, like, hey, what's people are asking what's going on, and I try to talk about it, and again, I'm trying to say the words, my cousin passed, my cousin's dead, my cousin gone, and when I try to say the words, like, I just start crying. So later that night, after I left work already, we had already had tickets. Me and my wife had tickets to see Mickey 17 on Thursday night. So this is the night after I had already found out about the terrible news. I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I was taking a wait and see approach. By the way, my wife was like, "Look, like if you don't feel like going tonight, you don't have to." So she's was very supportive of that. Either decision, it was all good for her. But I was taking a wait and see approach. And then as we get close to the movie start time, I decided, what, we're gonna go because I mean, number one, I knew that Jamal would have wanted me to go, and I'm not just making that up. Like when his mom passed 10 years ago, there was a very similar situation where I was feeling numb. I didn't feel like doing anything. I had this routine where I watched certain shows. I can't remember which show I was watching at the time. It might have been one of those ESPN commentary shows. And I was telling Jamal at the time, I was like, look, man, I'm so, you know, I'm so upset. I'm so, numb. Like I just can't do anything right now. And I was telling him like, yeah, I can't even watch X show, whatever the show's name was. And he was like, no, man, just go ahead and watch it. Like you know what, like you gotta keep doing what you love, man. You gotta, yeah, we miss her, and obviously, you know, it was more hard on him, my other cousin, than me. But like he was like, yeah, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. And so also he liked again watching my IG videos of my movie reactions. So I was like, look, I'm just gonna again take my mind off of it, go and watch the movie and sort of escape and do it, but obviously his loss his was still an impact on me, and it's not something that I take very lightly. So I watched the movie. I liked it. But then when I walked out the movie, the next question I had was whether I'm going to do an out of theater reaction. Um, I just felt at the time it just wasn't right to do it. And I mean, there's no logic to that decision, either of these decisions. I'm not saying that there's a logic to it. I'm just going subjectively what I was feeling at the time. So there's no right or wrong answer. I just decided I was going to take a pass. I'm not going to do a review on Thursday night. So that's why I didn't post an theater reaction for Mickey 17. But in conclusion, I just wanted to express how this tragedy personally affected how I will remember Mickey 17. It's the first movie that I saw at a theater where I was aware about my cousin's passing, my cousin's death. Now, the last movie I saw, again, I'm trying to I'm just trying to, conceptualize, and this is like part of my grieving process, how I'm trying to remember everything. The last movie I saw where Jamal had seen my IG reaction was this movie called Last Breath. I saw that movie on Sunday, March 2nd, and I checked on my IG and I saw that he had liked it. So he saw that movie. And I didn't think about it at the time, but I just thought about it today and I was like, wow, a movie called Last Breath, and that was the last movie review they saw of mine. I mean, it. I'm not going to call it irony because I think that's a misuse of the term, but it was sort of eerie, foreboding, foreshadowing. I just don't know what the right word is, so I'm sorry if I'm misusing the terminology. But I mean, if anyone can help me out and let me know what they think that what I'm trying to describe here, please do. But anyway, and after that, I saw My Dead Friend Zoe on Tuesday, March 4th. I know he didn't see that because he didn't post any reaction to it. That was on a Tuesday night. And that might have been the night that he actually passed, but we just don't know that. I'm not going to get into that, but we don't know that. But he missed that, so that was the last movie that I saw where I wasn't aware of my cousin's death. And Novocaine, which I saw the other day, um, that was the first movie where I actually posted an out of the theater reaction post my cousin's death, and I of course dedicated that post to him yesterday. And now today, I'm going to be dedicating this spoiler review to Jamal, which is my first spoiler review after finding about his passing. So, again, rest in peace, and Jamal. And I love you very much, and we're all going to miss you. Speaking of which, now I'm going to get into Mickey 17. Again, this is a spoiler review. So, overall, my thoughts on the movie, I thought it was good. Um, this was a movie that was able to allow me to escape that reality I was talking about. And, pardon the pun, but, reality, I'm talking about, the reality that I was dealing with. Also, if you knew my cousin, he went by the rap moniker reality. So I'm trying to not think about both my cousin and, just reality itself. But this is a movie I was able to engage with and to follow what was going on. So I wasn't checked out. I was totally in, and I definitely recommend checking out Mickey 17 at least once. It's a science fiction, dark comedy. There's various themes throughout this movie: the ethics of cloning, what it means to be human. I mean, how far humanity will go to survive as a species, classism. That's obviously some love story elements. Let me start with the positives. Robert Pattinson, you may be hearing raves about his performance in this movie, and those raves are justified. He plays basically two different characters. He's obviously he's playing Mickey 17, but also a character called Mickey 18, and these are two different characters. Uh, Look, he's playing obviously the same role, and we've seen movies where actors play different roles, and it comes more across as like a gimmick. But this didn't come across a gimmick as all. This is very necessary for the story for him to be him playing different roles in the same movie, and it felt like I was watching two different characters. I mean, Nikki 18 was the more aggressive one, more about protecting himself, self-preservation, whereas Mickey 17 was more of the submissive personality. So when I'm watching this movie, like I'm feeling like I'm watching two different, and this is all a credit to um, Robert Pattinson's performance. I like the world building in the movie. I liked how they explained how the technology worked, and like as they were explaining it throughout the movie, it kind of made sense. How look, this is science fiction. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is made up, but explaining like how the transfer of the memories worked and the limitations and all that stuff. And so now we can understand, okay, this is how this guy may remember certain things, but not other things. Like, okay, I got it. And then I'm able to move on and just accept the rules as they're explaining it and just go along with it. Um, the character motivations, we understand why Mickey joined this program in the first place. So I thought that was clearly explained with what he and the Stephen Ewan character were doing, getting away from the loan shark or whatever it was called. So that worked for me. The themes I just mentioned, how they played out in the movie, that worked. Now some of the negatives. Okay, overall, I want to say I enjoyed Mark Ruffalo and Tony Collette's performance, but I thought it was just a little over the top. But I'm not going to say I hate it. Some people may be saying they hated it. I didn't quite hate it. In fact, I thought some of the lines they said were funny in the movie. But just overall, I just felt like the performances were like a little over the top. I remember laughing a lot during the movie, but one of the negatives I have, so I'm doing this review March 9th, and I saw the movie on March 5th. So, what, 3 or 4 days have passed. And I just can't remember, like, the lines or the scenes that made me laugh. Like, I don't get me wrong, this was a funny movie. There were times where I laughed hysterically during the movie, but as time passed, like 3 or 4 days, I just can't. Nothing really stands out. So for me, that's just like a drawback with me. There's movies I've seen like 10, 20 years ago where I said, "Oh, this is something funny that happened in the movie. Here's a line I could paraphrase or something." But I just saw this movie like 3 days ago, and I just can't remember what it is that was funny about this movie. It's like one of those movies where I have to watch it again, and so I can explain. Oh yeah, this is what worked for me in terms of the comedy. And this wasn't one of Bong Joon-ho's best. Again, this is the same director who did Parasite that won an Academy Award. I believe it was in 2019. But look, not every movie is going to be like your best. You're not always going to top what you did before, so that's not necessarily a knock on him. But clearly, I like the movie, but I just have to be honest, it's not like his best work. So he's not like at the top of his game with this movie. And this movie for me just doesn't have that rewatch factor. Just for me personally, like I just don't feel the need, the compulsion to like, oh, I gotta go see that again. It's not like a, it's not like a end game where I saw that movie like literally like 9 times in theater. That's a 3 hour movie. I saw it like 9 times in the theater, or even Deadpool and Wolverine like last year. But this, like, look, I'll probably watch it again when it comes on streaming. And I'm not saying this is a stream movie. What I'm saying is, if you have the time, go and watch this movie because it's really entertaining. It's really worth it. Just for me, when I watched it in the theater, I'm glad I watched it. I don't regret it. I'm glad I had the theatrical experience, but I just don't have the need to go watch it again in the theater. I'll probably catch it again when it comes on streaming or digital. So anyway, in conclusion, overall, I liked it. It's probably not going to be in my top 10 by the end of 2025, and it's probably not going to get the Oscar nods. Again, that just depends on whether movies come out by the end of the year. But I mean, as of now, yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the top in terms of Oscar contenders compared to what's come out. I'm not saying that all the other movies are bad. I'm just saying like it's good, but it's probably not gonna hold up by the end of December 2025 in terms of Oscar. Now, look, maybe Robert Pattinson's performance, but there's only like five people are going to be nominated for that, so we'll see. But my guess is probably not in terms of Oscars, and I just don't regret watching it, and I would definitely recommend if you're thinking about if you're on the fence of seeing Mickey 17, I say go ahead and go for it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Mickey 17. Stay tuned. I'll probably do another review about a horrible experience I had in the movies about this one way. I'll get to that in my next review. But yeah, just hit the subscribe button if you like hearing my reviews. I post my spoiler reviews on ML Movie Reviews. I do my out of theater reactions. I post those also on this channel, but more specifically, I post it on my TikTok and IG. So yeah, thank you very much, and love you, Jamal.